Hello, welcome. My name is Abdi Goulet. In this short video, we will talk about network design basics. We only have 15 minutes, so we're gonna um, quickly go through. This picture looks familiar. If you ever go where the servers are sitting in your workplace, you will find something looks like this. To me, it's really messy, and so it is so scary. I don't know what these wires do, the functions that they do, but they are very important. At the end of this presentation, we'll be able to define network design basics. We will understand the central connecting devices, such as the hubs, switches, and routers. We will understand network topology and access methods. And finally, we will talk about layers, which is a really important concept. What is network design? Well, network is basically computers that are communicating to two or more computers that are connecting to each other to communicate and share information. And the concept of computer network design refers to the process of planning and implementing computer network infrastructure. There are so many computers around the world, and they are all connecting. They are connecting, not all, but they are connecting to one another, and they share information. And how are we able to create that kind of a flawless network design? There is a basic principle that we use, which is called layers, and we're going to talk about later in the presentation. So the computers you can connect it through wires like these two right now, or you can connect it through radio signals. The purpose for network design is to improve communication and collaboration, share information and resources, and also organize data to save money. What is a network? Local area network. Local area network are a bunch of computers that are connecting to one another using a central connecting device. So all of these computers right now, they are all connecting. They can share information through this central connecting device. What is a central connecting device? Central connecting device is it's a device that allows you to connect all your equipment, and it also handles your data as frames. We're going to talk about what the frames are later in the presentation. And there are three central connecting devices. They are called hubs, switches, and routers. Hubs are, if you look at the picture right here, we have a hub here in the center. So we have a laptop, we have a desktop, a server, and then hub is the one that's connecting all of those devices. And what the hub does is that when an information comes from the server, if that information gets here, that information is duplicated and it's available with all the other computers that or devices that are connecting to the hub. And that's one of the problems with the hub. Maybe if this laptop wants to communicate only with that with the desktop, hub is not going to be able to do that. Hub is going to duplicate the information, and also the information will also be available for the server as well. So it doesn't do that. It doesn't examine the data that it receives and the data that it sends. It does not examine. Let's look at the demo. So you will understand better. Let me maximize this one a little bit, zoom in. So if you look at here, the data is coming from that computer at the corner. When it gets here to the hub, the data is duplicated. And each computer that's connecting to the hub, and including the printer at the corner, is able to access that data that the one computer sent is. So this is one of the problems with the hub. Switch is an upgraded device of the hub. So it has two good things. It's a little bit more smarter. It enables you to communicate, to send data simultaneously. One or two or more computers can send the information simultaneously to the switch. That's one advantage. You are not going to be able to do that in the hub. The other thing is that it also enables you to send data to a specific location. So if you look at the demo here, this demo right here, let me zoom in a little bit. That computer at the corner is sending the data to the printer. This computer number 4 and computer number 5, they are also communicating to one another, to each other. So data goes from this computer, goes to the switch, and it comes back to this comes back to this computer number 5. So this is a much more smarter device than the hub. Hub is going obsolete in right now in the network industry. Router, what the router does is that router enables us to connect all our computers that are in the network to the internet. So we can have a single internet connection, and it also saves money for us. It also works as a dispatcher. So for example, if you look at this picture right here, we have 5 computers. First 3 computers that are connected to the router, they have an access to the internet through the router. Then we connected another switch here to the router, and then we connected 2 more computers to the switch. So these 2 computers, computer D and E, they are connecting to the switch. Switch connects to the router, and then they have an access to the internet. So all of those computers, they have an access to the internet through the router. There's also what we call NIC. It's a network internet card. So in order all the computers that we have and also the cell phones communicate to one another, they should have what we call NIC. There is 2 types of NICs. One is the wired NIC, like this one we have it here. It's wired NIC. That they always feature RJ45 ports, and this is called RJ45 block. It goes in here, so they communicate. That's a wired NICs. Wired NICs, they use what we call wireless access points. On wireless access points, they use antenna like this antenna right here, so that the antenna amplifies the network, and then the computers can communicate with one another. How do you create a wireless network? There is 4 different ways you can deploy your wireless network. You can use Cisco Mobility Express, centralized deployment, or converged deployment, or cloud-based deployment. So all of those, you can go to Cisco website to learn more about those deployment types. Documentation, network documentation. This is a very important concept that you need to do before you create your own network design. It basically, you have to map it out how all the devices will be connected to one another. Microsoft Visio is a great tool to create network documentation. What are the devices that make up LANs? We have the central connecting devices like the hub, switch, router. We also have the hostess. The hostess are all the other devices that we always use, like the computers, laptops, and the servers, and all that stuff. So as users, we always interact with hostess. We don't interact with the central connecting devices. Protocol and IP address. IP address, we always hear this. IP address is like a number that your computer has. It's like your cell phone has a number that the company gave you, your cell phone carrier gave it to you. So same thing, each computer has an IP address, so that's how it receives the information and sends information to other computers. The types of networks, there is a wired network, like the one at the corner. All the computers are connected with a wire. Wireless, using antenna to amplify the signal, and then the radio signal and the computers will communicate. And a virtual LAN. Virtual LAN is an interesting concept. You can connect computers based on their functions. You can say that teachers, VLAN 30 for teachers, they will share certain information which the other computers, the VLAN 20 for the students, don't see that information. So you can connect it that way. There is also another network that's called a perimeter network. This is really important, and it's highly upgraded. You separate basically your LAN with your sensitive information will be in the local area network for your company, and then you will put the servers outside in that area. You can put your website here and your other social media network, all the stuff here. So when the people are going to clients or customers are accessing your website, they can go to your server, but they will not be able to access your local area network. Network topology. What is network topology? Network topology is the physical connections of hosts in a network, and there is 4 different types. bus topology and star topology. Bus topology is very primitive. All the computers are connected with a wire. The problem is that if this wire is broken, that computer will be isolated. There's no way that computer is going to be able to communicate with other computers. Star topology, one step upgraded. They all connected with wires again, but they are connected to a central connecting device. They have the same problem. If this wire is broken for one of the computers, there is no way that computer will be isolated. Ring is one step up from the other two. Each computer has two ways to communicate with the other computers. If one wire is broken, this computer can communicate with the other computers the other way. Mesh topology is the best. Each computer has so many ways to communicate with other computers. So that's the best. That's the one I like the most. Client server versus peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer. Client server, whenever your laptop, if you want to use your laptop and you want to buy something from Amazon, when you hit that item, you are accessing information from the server of Amazon.com or any other company you're buying something from. So that computer client is getting information from the server, or maybe sending information to the server. So you can send information to the server as well. Peer-to-peer is different. So all the computers can work to one another, and without using a server or another item that is going to be connecting together. So Skype is the best. Skype is the best example. So when you are Skyping and the computers are Skyping to one another, that's called peer-to-peer connection. We're not going through a server or anything like that. Standards. So all of those softwares and hardwares that are released each and every year, that are standards, so that they will communicate and work together. They can work together, in a nice way. There are 3 different companies that does these standards. The first one is called III and IEEE. I apologize how the handwriting gets a little funkier here. And also there is another company that company governs all the electronic devices. There is an ISO, which the company that created the layers, and also there is an ANSI as well. So I would highly recommend it for you to Google all of those companies and learn what they do. Protocols and layers, they're almost the same, a little bit different. So the protocol is a set of rules that describe how information is communicated between devices, but it uses layers. And the layers, they simplify the information and the processes and the functions of the network. It's been created by that company called ISO. How the layers work. The layers is this. Each layer, there's 7 different layers, and each layer has a separate function that it does. I will highly recommend it for you to come back this slide if you want to, and then read the functions that each one of does. But let's take a look at this. How data is transferred from one computer to another. If these two computers, if this computer wants to send a picture to that computer, whether it is connected through wire or through wireless, there is a process that we go through. The 7 layers that we just talked about are the layers that the information goes through. So basically the information is broken down into smaller pieces. So the data comes down from this computer as an application and goes down, it's broken down into presentation, broken down into session, goes down all the way to bits. When it comes to bits is like a binary numbers, zeros and ones. In other words, we can say the information is broken down into small electric impulses. And that information goes through the wire or maybe radio signals, and it gets to this computer as bits as well. When this computer gets as bits, that information, then it reassembles again into frames, into packets, into segments, and then finally it becomes an application, so you will be able to see the picture. Okay, I'll show you a demo so you can see what that looks like. Look at here. This demo right here, this is one of my favorite animations. This is an information coming from one computer. So that computer, whatever you're sending right now, whether it's a picture or an email or other information, when you send it, the information is broken down those into small electrical impulses. And it's like a zeros and ones, like a pits. So these bits are going to go through the radio signal. So they will go through the wires to get to the other computer. And then the other computer, when it gets that information as bits, it reassembles using the same 7 steps to become an application, and you will be able to see it. Okay, so the client is going to see from the other side. Right, thank you so much. That's the end of the presentation. I will look forward to your comments, feedback, and also your questions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.